Welcome to Virginia Focus. I'm John Clark on the Virginia News Network. CJ's Thumbs Up Foundation provides assistance to families of children with chronic and life-threatening illnesses. They serve the needs of families by providing meals while families are in hospitals and through financial assistance. Roger Reynolds is the founder and director of programs for CJ's Thumbs Up Foundation, and he joins me today. Well, Roger, I haven't had you on in a while, a couple years, so bring us up to date on what you guys are doing with CJ's Thumbs Up.
It was pre-COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had that, didn't we?
Wow. Okay. Well, man, a lot has happened.
Yeah, I bet.
I'll give you the shorter version of the long story.
Okay.
When COVID hit, most of the other nonprofits that were working in the hospital had to step back because we all got bumped out of the hospital. Fortunately, CJ's Thumbs Up Foundation was one of the few that had kind of an infrastructure in place where we could adjust it and work with the child life departments at UVA and Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU. And they helped us distribute our food, which is our Meal Ferries program.
Yeah.
So we kept going throughout COVID, the big shutdown and everything. In fact, we kind of helped out the other nonprofits by kind of picking up a little bit of the slack that was left when they had to pull out. So 2020 was actually our busiest year ever. We served over 11,000 people in 2020.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
I know. We averaged about 10, and
wow.
We bumped it up by 1,000. Yeah. So 2021, we backed way off again because, people sort of figured out how to do things and everybody learned how to adapt. So last year was kind of a sit back and regroup for us. And we still did 9,000 or so people served.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like we were just, resting.
Yeah, right.
This year we're going gangbusters again. We have, I'm looking at my numbers right now, and we're at about 1,700 people served this year.
Yeah.
And we've had a big uptick in blankets, kind of like an organic dissemination there in that we started giving out little blankets to people here and there as they were donated, and now we're doing it a lot. And we last year we gave up over 400 blankets, and this year we're already over 230 blankets. So, that's a really growing part of what we do.
Yeah. Now, what do you do with the blankets? Talk about that program.
Well, to make sure everyone knows, we help the families when the children are in the hospital. Mm-hmm. We kind of gear more towards the caregivers and the siblings because the kids are taken care of in the hospital. They get all their food and things like that. But when mom is sitting in that cold room, they give her these little, thin hospital blankets. So we get people to donate some, the really nice, big, warm, fleecy blankets so that they're not freezing in the middle of the night.
Right.
And goes right along with the food in that it doesn't really necessarily solve anything. It doesn't cure anything, but it helps the grown-ups to have just a tiny bit less stress in their lives, and it kind of makes their unbearable situation a little more bearable,
Yeah. Yeah. So do you need blankets now?
We always need blankets. Last Wednesday I gave out 30 blankets in one fell swoop. So we can always use more blankets.
How can people donate the blankets to you?
There's a lot of different ways. We live in Ashland, Virginia. The local people just kind of drop them off on our porch, but people can mail them to us. We have a P.O. box that I can give you that.
Sure.
P.O. Box 854, Ashland, Virginia 23005. Or what we do a lot is we go to Costco because they have great sales and great deals on blankets, and we buy lots of blankets there. They can actually send us a Costco gift card.
People give gifts for birthdays and Christmas and all as blankets, so they need to pick an extra one up and give to you then.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Or, we get a lot of people doing fundraisers on birthday fundraisers on Facebook and on other social media.
Yeah.
That's a really wonderful way that people can give, and it's not a lot of effort. It's just, hey, for my birthday, donate to CJ stuff.
I know you were founded, and now it's been a while. Was it 2010 when you first started?
Yeah, 12 years.
What caused you to start this? I know you had a tragedy in your family, so with your daughter. So talk about that.
Well, Charlotte Jenny, that's the CJ.
Mm-hmm.
She was diagnosed with a brain tumor back in 2009, in January of 2009. And we went through all kinds of treatment, four surgeries, four brain surgeries. We had experimental proton beam radiation therapy in Texas. We flew back and forth between Richmond and Texas and Houston many, many times. And throughout all of the stuff that we had to deal with, we never had hardly any financial problems. We had a lot of people going to bat for us in terms of running interference with insurance and making sure that we were fed, making sure we had everything we needed. Somebody anonymously paid for all of our airfare between Richmond and Houston, back and forth. And we went back almost every week for about 3 months. Mm. And it was just that kind of generosity nailed us. It's like we were so lucky in that respect. And then we noticed that there were lots of other folks who weren't as lucky. So we decided that there's a hole that we can fill. We didn't want to start a nonprofit that was doing the same thing that a bunch of other folks were doing.
Yeah.
So we got a bunch of smart people together, and they helped us dot the I's and cross the T's. And it's kind of evolved into meal ferries, financial assistance, and now the blanket thing. And we've kind of like filled this niche that no one was doing. Yeah. No one was providing the meals the way we are and were. And it just kind of fell into place.
Yeah. And now your daughter passed away from cancer,
yep.
Unfortunately.
She passed away in January of 2010.
You started it right after then. You were on a mission right away.
Yeah. We actually started the process way ahead of that. Before we even knew that it was terminal, we decided that, we've benefited from people's generosity. We need to kind of pay it forward. So we started the process way earlier. Charlotte passed away on January 7th, and we found out that our incorporation papers went through on January 6th.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. Yeah. And now you certainly can relate when you see parents in those hospitals. Do you often get a chance to talk with them and tell your story and encourage them?
Well, I definitely love meeting them, because many times the parents are like deer in the headlights. They don't know what's happening. They're really stressed, and I'm totally understand how they're feeling at that moment. And a lot of times it's just they just need someone to say, focus, we'll be okay. We have a lot of folks rooting for you, and here's a blanket, here's some food.
Okay. And
so many times they don't want to eat. They're just like, they're so stressed and freaked out that their kid's in the hospital. And one of our hashtags is, you got to eat.
Oh,
and that's my Italian grandmother coming out. And, you got to eat. Otherwise, you're not going to stay healthy for your kid. And it's amazing how much, focus that gives to parents and brings them back.
Yeah. I mean, as you said, the kids are taken care of. The doctors and nurses are doing a good job taking care of they have all their needs met, food and so forth. But the families, they're there, and they don't want to leave or anything like that. They need that help too. You're a rubber meets the road guy.
Well, yeah, and it's very interesting because it's like therapeutic for me too. Some people can't do that. They can't be where that tragedy happened. But for me, I kind of need to be there to feel even a tiny bit of Charlotte's energy.
Yeah.
So it's therapeutic for me, and the parents are they're just very grateful. It's amazing. I've had people break down in tears when I hand them a sandwich. It's amazing how much it means.
Have you noticed, like, CJ died, about in 2010. Have you seen improvement in treatments? And I'm sure you've seen some success stories, but what are your thoughts on that, seeing some progress made in the fight against childhood cancers?
Well, obviously, I'm not a medical expert at all, but, you learn lots of big words when you're in the middle of it all. Mm-hmm. And what I've seen, and it's always, is the amount of research that's being done on pediatric cancer is still pitifully small. A good drug hasn't come out in so long. I can't even imagine how long it's been, like 30 years or so since a new drug has come out. They just give adult drugs to the kids in smaller doses. But the good thing that's happening, and it's amazing, is this gene therapy and the viral therapies that are being developed. They are seriously promising. I can't wait to see where they go with this. It seems to be very effective on leukemia. Brain tumors are really difficult because that we call it the brain-blood barrier. It's really hard to get medicine up there in the brain. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. What hospitals do you work with?
I work with Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU, downtown Richmond. And then that's on Thursdays. And then on Wednesdays, we go out to UVA in Charlottesville. And it's funny, both children's hospitals are on the 7th floors of their main hospital. They're building the new children's hospital in Richmond, which is amazing. I can't wait for that to be done. But that's mostly where we go. And then we find, we get referenced families and things from other places that need some help here and there.
Today I am talking with Roger Reynolds. He is the Director of Program Services. He is also the founder of CJ's Thumbs Up Foundation, and they're based in Ashland, where they provide meals and blankets and other services to families whose kids are in the hospital, in 2 of the hospitals in Virginia. Roger, who helps you out with everything?
Well, I kind of am de facto the face of CJ's Thumbs Up Foundation, but man, this is the epitome of a group effort. My wife is the brains of the bunch, and she is the one that keeps us all in line. She's actually our basically our executive director, our volunteer executive director. We have a board. We had a steering committee of very smart people, like I said before. We got lots of volunteers. One of the cool things that we do is we assemble sandwiches a couple times a month. That we buy the raw material from Costco, and then we put it all together in an industrial kitchen, and then we hand out the sandwiches the next day. And those volunteers they're starting to stream to the door. We're getting to the point where we need to find more things for volunteers to do. So again, I like to call myself the not so idea guy. I come up with some wacky ideas, and 90% of them are really bad, and every once in a while it comes out that's good. But yeah, it's a group effort, hardcore group effort.
So you get together and you go to a place like Costco and get everything together. Do you take all that into the hospital then and have an assembly line, or do you make them ahead of time?
Well, we go to, normally before COVID, it was almost like a buffet type situation. We would order those sandwiches pre-made, and everyone would come and we'd hand out the sandwiches. And of course, COVID shut all that down, so we had to go door to door, and everything has to be packaged separately now. Mm-hmm. So what we figured out is we have plenty of industrial kitchens around the area, in different places, like predominantly in churches. What we do is we go into St. James the Less Church here in Ashland, and we get the volunteers. We get all the raw materials, the bread, the cheese, the meat. And we have, like you said, an assembly line. Yeah. And someone cuts the bread, someone puts the cheese on, someone, bags up cookies because we get those. And and as long as it's done, in an industrial kitchen with the right kind of gloves and masks and stuff, we all are underneath the proper code and all that.
And then you take those, you box them up, and then take you go up onto the floor and hand out the sandwiches, or how does it work when you get in the hospital?
That's exactly right. I deliver the sandwiches. I take them up to the 7 floors, and I go door to door and I hand them out. And it's both the hospitals are different. Both of them have their different sets of regulations for gloves and masks and all that. Yeah. So we follow all that. There's certain rooms we don't go into, but me and a couple other people are actual registered volunteers for the hospitals. So we get to actually go into the rooms and talk to the people, and that's great. Yeah. I love it because I get to see the faces of the people that we get to help, and it's fantastic for me.
I have to ask, what's on the sandwich? What kind of sandwiches do you make?
Well, that's a good question. No, that's a great question because we do ham, turkey, and roast beef sandwiches, and then we have box of the croissants set aside for veggie sandwiches for anyone who wants that. And so we pile lots of stuff on. We actually we offer tomatoes, but the first time we tried it, the tomatoes made the bread really disgusting and soggy.
Oh no! Yeah.
And so we bag the tomatoes separately. So when someone wants a veggie sandwich, we hand them a little bag of tomatoes, and so that works out really well.
Okay. All right.
And we've added cucumbers to the veggies. It's great. I keep finding new things I can do with the sandwiches, believe it or not.
Oh my goodness! How many do you typically make, like on a day, or you'll take to a hospital? How do you pretty much know how many you need when you go?
Well, I know a general idea. We tend to have an average number of people that will do at each site, somewhere between 80 and 100. I think our current average for this year is 89. We serve 89 people at Children's Hospital of Richmond, and then we serve about 94 at UVA in Charlottesville.
Wow!
So those are our averages. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's right now. I mean, that can change obviously with who's in there.
Yeah. It's like last Wednesday we served 117 people, which is way above what we normally do. Mm-hmm. But that's just it's weird. Sometimes the floor has a lot of people, and sometimes there's not that many. When we finish serving the families, we take care of the staff as well, because we were very well taken care of by nurses and doctors and the cleaning folks and all those other folks who make the hospital run. So we try our best to take care of everybody if we can.
That's fantastic. And then you do the blankets, and do you do other services for people?
Yeah, we'll do what's called emergency bill pay. We'll find a family who needs, they need their electric bill paid or something. Or, unfortunately, we do help with funeral expenses sometimes. Okay. That's that's a smaller aspect of what we do.
You have some other fundraisers coming up now. You still have the butterfly socials?
We do. We have butterfly socials in the summer, usually spring and summer. Okay. Those are mostly, we like to call those like educational things. We don't necessarily even ask people to turn them into fundraisers. We like people to have a party, invite a whole bunch of people, and then one of us will go and just talk to everybody about what we do. Some people do make it a fundraiser, but it's not what that's all about. We just want to raise awareness for those. But we also have a big yard sale coming up in May. We have our big CJ the DJ's music festival coming up in July. That's always fun.
Yeah. Now, where is your yard sale going to be in May? What day is it?
The yard sale is going to be May 21st, Saturday, at Berea Baptist Church, just west of Ashland.
Okay. And then your music festival. I know last time we talked, you were gearing up for that. You yourself are a musician. Yeah. So talk about the music festival. When will it be?
That's going to be on Saturday, July 30th, I believe. And it's going to be at the last couple of years, because of COVID, we've had it mostly online. Mm-hmm. We got a bunch of, singer-songwriters, and they mostly would perform from our front porch. And we would stream it online for people to do online donations if they wanted. Okay. This year, we're going back to being live and in person at Center of the Universe Brewing here in Ashland.
Okay.
And they are amazing. And that's going to be like a battle of the bands all day long.
And you, of course, will play, I would imagine.
Yeah, I actually will probably be doing a couple of different sets. I do like a solo thing, and then I play in a cool Irish band called Turf Fire, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Where do you guys play around a good bit too?
A little bit, yeah. We got people will do porch concerts and things, and we play a lot of elderly assisted living places.
Again, when and where is the festival, and how can people go to the festival? Are tickets available? How do you get involved with that?
Well, it's actually free.
Okay.
It's going to be at Center of the Universe Brewing, and it's going to start at about noon and go till about between 7 and 8, depending on when people get tired of playing. It's free. You show up You can, you buy a beer. If you want to make a donation to the band of your choice, that's great. We keep track of that. And then the band that gets the most donations during their set will win the coveted Golden Thumb and Butterfly Trophy.
All right. Well, that'll be a great event. So now you also have celebrations for CJ. You still have those?
Yeah, those are just again excuses for people to turn their special event into a fundraiser for us. If they are having a birthday, if they're having a wedding reception, usually it's just birthdays. We'll have kids that will decide they don't want presents, they just want donations, and that's really cool when that happens.
Yeah, definitely. Oh man, you got to love kids, learning to do, and it's great for them to learn that early. It really is.
And all of these fundraisery things are all kind of like things that got us set up and stable. We're doing okay. I mean, what we do is really expensive, but we're offsetting that with the incoming donations and things for the most part. But what's been happening just lately, since we've been going for such a long time and we've had a chance to regroup from COVID, we are now going to the next phase, I guess you could say. We are encouraging people to become more sustainable donors, like, $10 a month, $20 a month kind of thing, coming straight out of paychecks and things. No one really notices when they do that. And at the end of the year, they have a great tax write-off.
Yeah.
And we're encouraging people to remember us in their estates. That's kind of a new thing. We haven't really done that too much before. And we're working on an endowment fund, which is really good.
Yeah. What will that do?
That's going to help partially fund at least one of our sites for the year. And if we get our goal, I mean, we have like some lofty goals. In the next few years, we want to have an endowment of, say, like $500,000. And if we do that, that's enough to fund one of our sites for the entire year.
Wow.
Because we take a small percentage off, every year as when we let the money grow. And as it grows, we get more of a steady revenue stream. So we don't have to rely quite so much on donations.
Sites meaning one of the hospitals that you work with.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to expand into other hospitals? I know you live right there in Ashland and the Richmond area, but do you want to expand into other parts of Virginia for other hospitals?
It's always on my mind. I've tried. It's what we do is kind of a weird thing. Like I said, when we started doing it, no one was really doing what we did. Mm-hmm. So when I call another hospital, when I called UVA, yeah, they're like, "Huh? What do you do?" And so it took quite a while to get them to understand what we did. Mostly what we did is we asked the Child Life Department and some of the social workers from UVA to come and watch us do our thing at ECU. And they did. And as soon as they saw what we did, it's like, oh, I get it. And boom, we were in. So we just need people to see what we do, see how awesome it is, and then it's not a problem. Of course, COVID put, the kibosh on all of that kind of stuff. But we would love to go to other places and help other families.
I can see where the child life specialists come in there and they go, wow, we really needed this, because people are probably, like you said, they don't want to leave. They don't want to go down even to the cafeteria, let alone go out somewhere. And I just think it's wonderful that you guys come to them and bring this for them. That's terrific.
And one of the great side effects that we didn't even know was going to happen is when we were doing the thing in the lounge as the kind of like the buffet setup, we would have people come in who hadn't been out of their rooms in a day or two or three. And they would come in and they would start to meet other family members of different patients. The patients are obviously in the room, but these family members would come out. They'd meet other people in similar situations. All of a sudden, we have this strange de facto support group. And there are lots of people who have stayed friends even after they're done with treatment.
Now, what are your needs right now? What can people listening to this radio program do to help you out?
Number one is always money. We budget about $300 per meal, and that feeds between 80 and 100 people, sometimes more. And that's the number one need we have. We have, donate buttons on the website at cjstuff.org. And the blankets are always a really nice thing. We have, I even forgot to mention this, we have a set of T-shirts that we sell through Bonfire Funds. That's what it's called. And geared mostly to the kids who, and the families who have had cancer and they've lost their hair. Because I am quite follically challenged, in case you didn't know. And then when Charlotte lost her hair, a friend of ours was going through treatment for breast cancer at the exact same time. They both lost their hair at the same time. So we had a fundraising drive for these T-shirts that said "Bald Chicks Rock," and we've also gotten "Bald Dudes Rock" and "Bald Humans Rock," and it's amazing. Kids, especially like teenagers, they don't want to be that special kid. They really don't. They don't want to stand out that way, but they can't help it because of the whole hair thing. It's like, oh. So when you give them permission to embrace it, it's like, whoa, this is awesome. They still might wear a wig or they still might wear a headband, but when you give them that T-shirt that says "Bald Whatever Rock," it's like, it gives them permission to not hate, or to hate it less, I guess.
Right.
It's not fun, but at least, we can wear cool shirts.
If a restaurant or a food supplier or something wants to donate to you directly, can they do that too?
Yeah, we do have that sometimes, but here's something that we very strongly feel is that we don't want to be a parasite on the system. We actually want to be a business partner with these other restaurants. We ask for hefty discounts, that's true, but we have plenty of restaurants who we pay for the food, we cover their costs, and they're happy for that. We found out that over the years we've spent over $10,000 at Subway. Okay. I mean, that's a chunk of that guy's revenue. So we're really happy about that. But we'll always take free stuff too.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about, because it's going to a great cause too. And if people want to donate to you, whether it be money or whatever, blankets, certainly, give your contact information out again so that they can get some information to you or get help to you.
Yeah, for sure. The best way to go to the website, which is CJStuff with one F.org, and there's all kinds of buttons, and there's donate, and there's you can send us a message through there. If you want to just send us a straight email, it's info@cjstuff.org.
Great. And I know you do a little radio. That's how I met you up in Ashland at WHAN a couple of years ago. And what do you do now? You're doing some stuff now. So, hey, give it a plug.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Well, I was doing my Drive Through with Raj Bluegrass Mostly show on WHAN, and they got sold to another entity. So I took my show online, and now I'm at live365.com, and just look for the Drive Through with Raj.
Great. Everybody encourage you to do that. Roger's a musician around the area. So, Roger, good to talk to you again. You're always welcome to come on the show, and you're doing some wonderful work, and I encourage people to support what you're doing to help out these families, and I appreciate you coming on and updating. I'm glad things are going well.
Thank you so much. It was so great to talk to you again.
That is Roger Reynolds from CJ's Thumbs Up Foundation. He is the founder and also the director of programs, and he is the father of CJ, his daughter, who passed away from cancer in 2010, and now they provide assistance in the way of meals and blankets and other assistance to families in hospitals with children dealing with chronic and life-threatening illnesses. If you want to help them out, you can visit them at cjstuff.org. There's only one F in CJ. If you have questions or comments about today's program, email me, John Clark at iHeartMedia.com. Hey, thank you for listening. I will talk to you next week right here on your local radio station on Virginia Focus.